What's up, guys? Optic Carlton here. I just want to make a quick video about gun legislation because there's a lot of talk now of an assault weapons ban coming down the pipe. And first of all, I want to say that I am coming from the position I'm pro gun rights. So don't allow me to misrepresent myself and say that I have some sort of balance. No, I am pro gun rights. However, I want I would love for people who are I don't like to say anti-gun rights, but are pro-gun control to watch this because I think it's a very important distinction that you have to make when we're talking about assault weapons legislation. Because unfortunately, and this is almost always the case, that people who write gun legislation oftentimes do not really have a very good grasp on firearms and how they operate. So I just want to make this quick little video to try and maybe hopefully persuade people and help them understand. So anyway, here we have three examples of firearms. I have like an AK style clone. I have just a standard Winchester hunting rifle, and then I have a 9mm handgun. So when we talk about another assault weapons ban, what we're looking at, if based off the last one anyway, is that the pistol grip, the high capacity magazine, and the folding stock. And actually, there's a muzzle brake on this. It's not as pronounced as other models, but there is a muzzle brake on this. So that's basically what we're looking at with that. And here we just have your standard hunting rifle, chambered at .308. It is semi-automatic, like this here. My dad's killed lots of deer with this gun, and a 9mm handgun. So most people, if I interpret the law as it existed in the 90s and what this would mean, these two firearms here would be acceptable. However, this guy here, you might have run into some issues. Now, before we go any further, let me just expand on a little bit that, or make it known, as it were, that these two firearms operate, this firearm here and this firearm here operate in exactly the same manner, with a semi-automatic reciprocating action. Point, this is not fully automatic. Fully automatic weapons have been regulated for quite a few decades now, so that's not what we're talking about. Some people might think that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about that. So these firearms operate exactly the same. Now, here you have the 30-round magazine, where this one has a magazine of around 4. But when we're talking about like what damage you could do, you can do a lot of damage with this weapon, of course, but you can also do quite a bit of damage with this weapon, because you do have the detachable 30-round magazine here, which you could use to shoot up a lot of stuff, but you also have the 4-round detachable magazine here. So if the concern is the quickness with which you can change magazines, it's both firearms, you can do the same thing. I mean, you could just have a lot more magazines, I suppose, and get very similar firepower. So that, to me, would be that issue. They do the same thing. This one holds quite a bit more. However, you can still hurt or maim lots and lots of people with this. Same with this. This handgun holds 17 rounds in the magazine. It's simple to simply drop one magazine and insert. Do this with one hand. Insert another. See? Now it's ready to go. So that was first point. Second point, pistol grip. This is one of the most curious things that they put in there. This is, if you know anything about firearms, this really is just quite absurd of a thing to be concerned about. But I guess the reasoning last time was that it was able to be spray fired from the hip, designed to be spray fired from the hip, which I challenge anybody to find any military doctrine that you spray fire from the hip. As a matter of fact, if I am in a mass shooting, I hope to God the person's spray firing from the hip, because they won't hit a damn thing. But to say you can't, I mean, here's me holding this one, and here's me holding this one. I mean, I feel like if I were to spray fire from the hip, they kind of do have the same capability in that regard. I'm not quite sure what that means. But anyway, that's that issue. And of course, a handgun, I mean, you can do all sorts of spray firing. You can do this like the inner city people, gangs do, or whatever. So I mean, spray forever hip, that is patently absurd as well. And I'm not sure what the thing. I really can't even venture a guess as to. I think gun control people think that like a muzzle brake like makes your gun invisible or something. I think that's what they think. I'm not really sure. I don't even know how to attack this one because I don't know what the purpose of that is. I'm not really sure. So, but I guess what the point is, if you take these weapons and use two weapons, right? Like you do have differences here, and then you have differences here. But if you sort of just kind of focus in, I mean they're quite similar. I mean, there's an action here. There's an action here. I mean, it's all essentially the same thing. But under assault weapons bans, this would be legal and this would not be. You could get in a lot of trouble for having this if it was. I'm not even sure how they would do registration, whatever. But essentially, this would be you would be a criminal to own this, but not this. So, I mean, let's think about that. That's a little absurd. And just on a broader note, like when we talk about the old assault weapons ban, its effectiveness was questionable, and they did quite a bit to try and prove that it was useful, but it turns out it really wasn't because, well, first of all, how many people use assault weapons in crimes? I mean, it was already low before the assault weapons ban, so trying to ban something that isn't even used, I mean, you're attacking sort of a straw man in that regard because they don't even use it. I mean, because you can't conceal this. You wouldn't be able to put this in your pants or anything. I mean, I suppose you could, but it would be quite awkward. I mean, most gun crimes are committed with these, and it's interesting because there's not really very much talk about banning these. Well, there is, but they know it's very difficult to try and get something like this banned. So, there's really no need to ban assault weapons. I mean, I guess there's certain times when, like, say the Aurora shooting where somebody just goes over the top, but that can be achieved. You can achieve the same thing that he did with a 55-gallon drum full of fertilizer. I mean, it's not difficult to kill lots and lots of people if you are resourceful. So that's just about it. I just wanted people to understand that the assault weapons ban is a joke. It's not. It's completely for show, for people who don't know anything about firearms. So before, hopefully I change some minds with this video, but before you start talking about assault weapons ban, know that it is completely absurd and not at all useful for anything.